young scholars, it's me, Jonathan Hurley, back again for another video. I am so excited. You know, I had so much fun exploring the Adirondacks with you and with the Sedita dragon. I can't wait to see where I'm gonna go next. Where is that dragon anyway?
Hi there, Mr. Hurley.
Just the dragon I wanted to see. Are you here to send me on another adventure?
You're in luck. Mr. Hurley, I know exactly where I want you to go next. Open your textbook. I left you a clue.
You did? Oh, I hope it's another riddle. Okay, let's see. Oh! You're right. It is another riddle. Okay. Before New York saw you or me, there was 1,000 years of history. Under this house, these people stand, indigenous to New York's land.
Can you predict where you'll be exploring?
Well, that's the thing, Sedita Dragon. From this riddle, I'm not sure I'm going to be exploring a place. I think I might be exploring a people.
That's right, Mr. Hurley, and you're right. Today you'll be learning about a group of people. This group of people is called the Haudenosaunee.
The Haudenosaunee? What a brilliant name.
I agree. The Haudenosaunee are very important in the history of New York because their ancestors were indigenous to this land. To be indigenous is to be the first people ever to live in an area.
Oh, I see. So that's why the riddle says 1,000 years of history. So the Haudenosaunee have lived on this land for 1,000 years?
Try thousands of years. And the Haudenosaunee also lived on the lands beyond the state of New York as well.
Wow, that is amazing. And you know what? It's even more amazing that they lived under the same house for all that time.
What do you mean?
Well, the riddle. It said, under this house these people stand. So that must mean that the Haudenosaunee lived under the same house for more than 1,000 years, right?
It's symbolic, Mr. Hurley.
Hello, everyone. Mr. Hurley, I hope you don't mind, but because I knew today's adventure was extra special, I asked some friends to join us. Mr. Hurley, meet Miss Bonnie General Vazquez, Miss Lorna Thompson, and Dr. Montgomery Hill. They're all teachers in Buffalo, like you.
It's very nice to meet you all.
Now it's Scannel, Mr. Hurley, and nice to meet you, Sedita Dragon. But let's not forget, I'm not just a teacher in Buffalo. I'm a Haudenosaunee citizen.
Oh, how wonderful. So you can answer my question. The Haudenosaunee, they all lived under one house?
Oh no, Mr. Hurley, that was just symbolic. The Haudenosaunee people are the people of the Longhouse.
Oh, okay, so now I understand. The name Haudenosaunee, that means people of the Longhouse?
Correct.
But I'm still confused. What is a Longhouse? What does it look like?
Well, rather than tell you, would you like to see for yourself?
Absolutely. I would love to see a Longhouse. Is there a Longhouse in New York State?
There is. There's one in the New York State History Museum in Albany, New York, which is also our state capital.
Albany?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm gonna go right away. Would you mind watching my class while I'm away?
Oh, absolutely.
I think we
Absolutely.
have
Okay, excellent. Students, I will be back. I'm gonna go explore. I'm gonna catch you later in Albany, where I'm gonna see a Longhouse. Okay, bye.
Okay.
Ona.
Well, now that he's gone,
Let's talk.
let's look back at the word indigenous. Do you remember what it means? To be indigenous is to be the first people to live in an area. The Haudenosaunee people are indigenous to this land.
Within the Haudenosaunee, there are 6 nations. The Seneca, Cayuga, Onondaga, Oneida, Mohawk, and Tuscarora. I belong to the Cayuga Nation.
I'm Onondaga.
I'm a Tuscarora citizen.
Haudenosaunee people live all throughout New York State today and beyond, but many live on small territories gained from treaties. There are different territories that belong to each nation.
But remember, the Haudenosaunee people are indigenous to this land. They have lived on this land for more than 1,000 years. How would this map change if we went back in time, say, 500 years?
500 years ago, the nations of the Haudenosaunee were very large, covering most of the land in current New York State, parts of Pennsylvania, Ohio, and southern Ontario.
In New York, the Seneca Nation lived the farthest west, then came my nation, the Cayuga, followed by the Onondaga, then the Oneida, and finally the Mohawk Nation, which lived furthest to the east. The Mohawk Nation extended up and into the Adirondack Mountains. The Tuscarora Nation, which joined the Haudenosaunee, about 200 years later.
So, when looking at these nations of the Haudenosaunee on this map, we see our first example of a longhouse. The 6 nations of the Haudenosaunee were and are united as one people. The longhouse is a symbol of that bond. Imagine a giant house reaching across New York State, covering the Seneca Nation in the west all the way to the Mohawk in the east. The Seneca Nation are the keepers of the western door of that longhouse. The Mohawks are the keepers of the eastern door of that longhouse. The Onondaga are the keepers of the central fire of that longhouse. That is why we are called the Haudenosaunee. We are the people of the longhouse.
The Longhouse is not only the symbol of the Haudenosaunee people's bond, it was also the name for the homes they lived in.
Longhouses were constructed using tree saplings as the frame and the tree bark for the walls. Inside a longhouse, there were several cooking fires. In the roof, there were several holes to let smoke escape.
Several families shared a longhouse. The families that lived together were members of a clan or extended family. Each clan had an animal name. There were a total of 9 clans shared across all the Haudenosaunee nations. These clans included the beaver, the eel, the turtle, the bear, the wolf, the deer, the hawk, the snipe, and the heron.
Now that you know all about longhouses and the Haudenosaunee, let's check in with Mr. Hurley. He's driving east across New York State toward its capital city, Albany. When he arrives in Albany, he will find the New York History Museum. Look, Mr. Hurley's found the museum. He's walking inside now. Will he find the longhouse? Observe.
Welcome back, Mr. Hurley. How was your trip?
It was an amazing trip. The Longhouse was so much bigger than I expected. I learned so much about the Haudenosaunee people, not just from the museum, but especially from the 3 of you. So thank you so much for coming here today.
Thank you for inviting us. And remember, we've been here since time immemorial on this land, so we have plenty more stories to say about it.
Would you come back next time and tell me more about the Haudenosaunee?
Absolutely. Of course.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. But now,
Let's review.
The Haudenosaunee people are the indigenous people of this land. There are a number of Haudenosaunee communities, territories, and people within the borders of New York State and without. To be indigenous is to be the first people living on this land.
The name Haudenosaunee means people of the Longhouse. The Longhouse is the connection between the 6 nations, the Seneca, the Cayuga, the Onondaga, the Oneida, the Mohawk, and the Tuscaroras.
Longhouses are homes for extended families and clans.
A very special thank you to Ms. Bonnie General Vazquez, Ms. Lorna Thompson, and Dr. Montgomery Hill for participating in our adventures today. If you like this video or you learned something, feel free to come back for our next adventure. No matter how far you've come or how much you've learned, there is always more to explore. See you next time!